I've just seen a story this week that really leaves me absolutely staggered. You know, we're so worried about our society, our communities and our families, about the way that the woke agenda, the trans agenda, the way that uncontrolled immigration is destroying our society. And I know that not everyone thinks that everything that Donald Trump has does is right. We have a country where you have a separate head of state, the king, head of government, prime minister. In America, obviously, that's amalgamated into one. But I don't think anybody with any sanity can sit back and say, isn't it right that he starts to take government seriously and we should follow that lead? Well, unbelievably, having taken the mick out of the world with the Joe Biden abortive re-election campaign, the Democrats in the United States of America are saying that they believe that the mistake they've made is that they have been insufficiently woke. Well, Brad Polumbo is a journalist and YouTuber. Brad, look, why don't you just start? Because I've got no idea what to say about that. I'm pretty appalled.
Yeah, we just heard from Tim Walz, who was the Democratic vice presidential candidate alongside Kamala Harris, and he went away after taking an enormous L in the election. Really remarkable stuff. He went away, he thought long and hard, and he came back with the take that the Democrats just didn't lean in hard enough to three things: DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion; woke; and immigration. He said we just need to do those things. Sorry,
Brad, just to be clear, they were insufficiently supportive of uncontrolled immigration.
Are they just doubling down? Is this just like a toddler having a tantrum? Is that what it? And eventually, you know, it will break down and they'll come to their senses.
Yeah, like a kid burying their head in the sand, because the polling is there. I mean,
to be fair,
it's talked to Americans.
Sorry, Brad,
that's why they lost.
Brad, to be fair, it's an ostrich that buries its head in the sand. A kid doesn't do that. That would be a poor move.
That's fair.
Yeah. But honestly,
we have the polls. We talk to people. We know why people voted for Trump. Yeah. Young people, people of color, all these groups that are traditionally very liberal all went for Trump in increasing numbers because they were sick of the DEI insanity.
Well, we saw what happened in California and New York.
Open border chaos.
They're all robbing the shops. You know, businesses. It's still going on in California and New York. There's some of these places around the country that are still sort of there. You've got the ICE sort of troops going down and removing migrants, and it's all kicking off. Is this the last death throes, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if they'll ever give it up, because the Democratic Party is scared of their own base. They've got their 15% of the country that is hyper woke, that is truly all in on the identity politics, on the DEI stuff, not just everyone's welcome, treat everyone fairly. Of course, we all support that. The toxic, dividing people up into identity boxes, uplifting some groups at the expense of others, and they're afraid of those people.
But that's all they do, isn't it? They're not interested in any, like, the economy or anything else going. It's just about those two little policies, and they're meant to be a mainstream opposition now. But
well, the other issue they constantly talk about is abortion and abortion rights. And between the three of those issues, you really have the entire Democratic Party and everything they stand.
I think what Ash is driving at, and I don't know what Samara thinks about this, is one thing that we don't understand, Brad, is this, and I suspect you probably don't understand either, but let's lament it together. This idea that you have a party that's supposed to be supporting the working man, supposed to be supporting working class families, supposed to be worrying about, you know, how are we going to bring jobs back in vehicle manufacturing to Detroit when they've been sent overseas? How are we going to guarantee that young people can afford to get into university education, despite the fact that to keep it as elite as it is in the United States of America, that has an enormous cost? And they're gobbing off about whether Dylan Mulvaney should don a frock and talk about Bud Light. And you think, why on a second, why do you think this is going to win an election? What? And I feel that one thing that we've had to do as the political right is step in and defend their base.
Yeah, I mean, Trump has made huge gains with them, and Biden did do that. He invited Dylan Mulvaney, who's radioactive, as you mentioned, to the White House. So Democrats, some of them are trying to do revisionist history now and say we were never that woke, or that was just a couple months in 2020. They really did go all in on this stuff, and if they want to walk it back, they need to actually do that and have a reckoning over it, not gaslight us.
But they're still in denial, aren't they? I mean, they're in denial with their policies on, trans and that's all denial. So, of course, they're just going to carry on with it. And what do you think about that? They're just in denial about everything, including this woke's we just got to double down and it'll work in the end.
I mean, they're so far in denial that they have been saying that they think Kamala should run again. I mean, I don't know if Brad's heard about that rumor, but it's like, get the boxed wine ready and let's go. Because I just...
She's already got it ready.
No, because they genuinely think, they've looked at stats and they've been like, oh, she actually didn't have too bad of a presidential run. She was able to pick up votes. There are many sources.
Just to be clear on Kamala Harris,
Yep.
She lost to a man who'd been convicted of a crime, painted his face orange, glued a fake wig on his head, and went round insulting absolutely everybody during the election campaign. Now, look, whatever you think of Donald Trump, I mean, to be clear, they have run a couple of duds again. I mean, look, no disrespect, but if you get beaten by the guy who got beaten by Joe Biden, then you've really got problems.
Or did he?
There were so many miscalculations. Like, they really thought they were going to get the youth vote. They thought they were going to get the Latina vote, the working class vote. Trump picked all of those up because you know what the one uniting factor is for Americans? It's the green. It's the money. And that is what he ran on. And that's what the Democrats had no idea about.
Brad, can you respond to that? Because one of the things that we're, I think, bemused by is exactly what Samara's saying there. I don't get this whole, what is the Asian American concern? What is the black American concern? I mean, I remember Steve Norris, when he ran for Mayor of London, they went, what are you going to do for the gay community? He went, I'm going to make sure the tube runs on time. Largely because I think the number one concern of the gay community in London is being able to get home from work. And I thought, well, that's a reasonable point, isn't it?
Gays do like to go home from work, yes,
but
on the train.
Yeah, but I think the point is that these issues are universal. What is the gay issue? What's the black issue? What's the trans issue? Well, actually, it's probably low tax and having a decent job.
And that's why they supported Trump, a lot of those communities.
It's the cost of living. No. It's that was the number one issue under Joe Biden that everybody rejected because it touched us all, liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat. And some of it was international, some of it was going to happen, but Biden's policies absolutely made it worse. And the president gets blamed for it regardless if it happens under his watch. Whereas prior to the pandemic, the economy was pretty strong under Trump. People are willing to put up with a lot of crudeness, a lot of brashness, a lot of name calling, a lot of juvenile behavior if gas is cheap. That's just the reality.
They just want their lives to be better. They just want their lives
luxury beliefs.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks, Brad. That's Brad Polumbo. Just one more thing. No, it's not that one. Not that guy.
It's Brad Lieutenant Polumbo from the Homicide Department. His real name's
Peter. It looks a bit like Morrissey, doesn't it? There you go.
Peter Polumbo.
He doesn't know he's only 20. He doesn't know Morrissey or
thanks so
Columbo
much, Brad. We hope that Brad Polumbo will come back